What up, everyone, and welcome into a brand new episode of Snaps, your favorite daily college football podcast. What up, Zach Lenz? What up, Brad the Man? What up, Bilbo T. Baggins, Greg Hendricks, everybody else hanging out in the chat today. I am very proud to be a part of today's show. I'm one of your hosts, T-Bob Hebert, joined as always by QB1, the beautiful Aaron Murray. And I feel very confident in saying today's show is a special one because I would bet a lot of money that this is the first ever live YouTube broadcast and first ever college football podcast to feature one of the hosts day one post vasectomy. As if you remember yesterday's snaps, right after we got done, Aaron Murray went and got snipped. And so now he is currently sitting on a frozen bag of edamame as he sits here and still has the grit to come into work and give you college football takes at 3/28. That's March 28th in the spring off season. There is no off season when it comes to snaps and CFB. Like the video, F's in the chat for Aaron's sperm, as it's got about 6 weeks left before it's officially done. Aaron, what's up, man? How we feeling today?
Glad it's over with. First off, it feels good that it's over with. Was a little nervous, so I'm literally sitting in the room, and I documented this on social yesterday. But I'm like on my phone, just like scrolling through news.
Aaron,
hey,
have you ever heard of a
try to get it in one more time before I was off for a week because I'm out of commission for a week. So
have you ever heard of a Freudian slip? Because I think that's exactly what we just witnessed there. Anyway, so
I'm blaming the meds. I'm blaming the meds for the slip of that one.
You're scrolling nudes, and then what happens next?
Scrolling the news, and all over here, and I hear and this dude comes walking out of the door. And it starts walking towards like the exit, and he's waddling in pain. I mean, going like at a snail's pace, just
I
grunting.
He was walking out. Okay, he did look like he was hurting.
Yeah, he was hurting, like grunting. I'm just It reminds me. It was funny when we were in Athens. We'd always do like a family lunch on Sundays after the game. My parents would come in. We go get lunch before they would head back to Tampa. And there's this like Chinese buffet we decided to go to one day. So we pull up, and everyone walking out of the buffet is like we're walking, and people like holding their stomach, and we're like walking and the place was packed. So I'm like, the place, like we've heard really good reviews, but everyone walking out is just like And you go in there, it's really good food, but like lots of sodium, lots of salt, and like we all walked out just like So that reminded me of that, like this guy walking out of this situation, can't walk. And I'm just like, damn, this sucks. Shit.
I remember
it's a unique experience. It's very unique.
Well, hold on. You're not done yet. You're not done yet. We're gonna get back to your office visit. But no, I remember there was a great Chinese buffet called China Wall here in Baton Rouge back in college that we used to go tear up as an offensive line. And I remember taking Caitlin on a date there, right? But a Chinese buffet is kind of like an inverse strip club, right? They say at a strip club, you never want to be there during the day, right? You don't want to see with the lights on. You want to be dark. You want to be a little like seedy, you want to be in it. You don't want to see a Chinese buffet at nighttime, at dinner time, at date time. It's it will make you look around the room. And you may have some questions about what decisions did I make in my life to bring me here, surrounded by my peers, of whom appear to be, for the majority, pretty unhealthy. Okay, making a choice to go on a date to the Chinese buffet at night. Ever since then, I've never gone, and I have a hard and fast rule in life. I will not go to a Chinese buffet if it's after 2 p.m. It was just too much sad. You know what it was? Fat bastard eating. And I don't mean that in calling anyone a fat bastard. I mean the character of fat bastard in Austin Powers, who so eloquently put it back in the day, right? What did he say? Essentially he said, I'm depressed because I eat, and I eat because I'm depressed. And I felt like I saw it large at the Chinese buffet that night. It really imprinted on my head. Oh, look at this, dude. And then we'll get back to your vasectomy, Aaron. King Arnold says, Big Cat gave us Oh, hell yeah, Big Cat. Thanks, man.
When did that happen?
I don't know. We got to check it out. But I love Big Cat. I love PFT. They've always been really good to me and on our radio show and stuff. So that's really nice, man. I'm going to miss them this weekend. Can't go to Hogs. Got to go coach T-ball. And then Big Gang for Life says that's how I heard about him. Hell yeah, Big Gang. Welcome. Anyway, okay. Now, Aaron, so you're nervous. You see that poor old man shuffling out of there. Yeah. So much pain. You go into the office. Does the doctor immediately start barking at you at that point? Is he a Georgia fan?
So my game plan was, I had my golf video clips that I wanted to watch, get on YouTube, watch my golf video clips, have my headsets in. I'm ready to go. Like, this is like don't talk to me for 20 minutes. You just do you. I'm going to watch golf videos and be happy. And he just starts jabbing away. I mean, good dude. Don't get me wrong. Great guy. We're talking about March Madness. We're talking about, as we're talking, he has scissors in his hands. Like, yeah, man, like it's been a great March Madness. And he's like swinging the scissors around. I'm like, motherfucker, please stop doing that. As you were about to cut me open. And, he cuts me open. We're still talking about football and his kids and where they go to college. And we're talking about March Madness and this, that, and the other. We're talking about Chinese balloons in the air. I mean, we went through like a whole gamut in 25 minutes as he's performing everything. I'm just sitting there like, my God. I mean, he actually did a good job. He did distract me. He did his job. And left. I tried to go the route of, you know what? I don't need the meds. I was kind of numb when I left. So I'm like, I really don't need them. And about 2 hours later, when they, the numbness wore off, I looked at my wife. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like someone has just kicked me in the balls and the pain's not going away. And I'm just like sitting on the couch, just like, and my son's like trying to jump on me. I'm trying to feed Miles. I'm like, okay, I'm going in the car. I'm going to the CVS. I'm going to go get these, pain meds. And, been on them nonstop, so I feel good. Edamame and the medication they gave me, and your boy feels really good right now. So we're fine.
So, okay, look, I do not want to be flippant here because I know opioid addiction is very real, right? And so if you are someone who's prone to that, or if you are, just be careful with pain pills. Mm-hmm. But that said, take the pain pills. It's the only positive to any of this, right? Because it feels really good. Like not only does it ease your pain, but you feel pretty relaxed. Like how chilled do you feel right now, Aaron? You can't really have a worry in the world, right? No business stuff.
I'm slipping news and nudes. I'm so chill. I mean, it just slurring right out of the mouth.
Too honest there. Look, that's like all I look forward to whenever I get in one of these situations is, well, at least I'm going to have something to, like in college, right? It's like, oh crap, I tore my ACL. This freaking sucks, but I can take Loratab and play Gears of War 3 for like a month or two. So that'll be fun. See now, okay, Dart, Dart, that's real right there. He says a former heroin addict, take a few for me, Aaron, with a and a hang loose. Yeah, dude. All right.
I will finish that bottle.
T-Bob, are you still getting an extra? Is Aaron scaring you out of it? No, I'm not scared.
No, it was painless. It was painless. It was easy. Honestly, I feel really good today. I think I'll be golfing by next Monday. That's the goal. Wow. I want to be on the golf course. Start off Masters week with a round of golf is my goal. So,
well, even
come on, balls, don't fail me now.
I'm just upset that even though we did get the doctor dancing like Michael Madsen and Reservoir Dogs and snipping the scissors in front of you, I wanted at least one bark from him while your balls were in hand. So I'm very upset that he wasn't actually a Georgia fan. Mm-hmm. But hey, what are you going to do?
More of a Virginia grad. Told me. Virginia grad. Once his daughter goes to Indiana, his son goes to Boston College. His other daughter goes to some school in California. So that's where we're at. We talked a little bit about Penix, as he was messing.
No way! Penix. Wait, did you make any penis Penix jokes? What?
I did not make any penis.
It was right there in front of you the entire time.
The last thing I want to do is make a doctor laugh as he has scissors down there. Like I don't need any sudden jolt, movement, giggle. Ha! Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't need that. I need him focused. He can make the jokes.
What if he saw his kind of eyes go wide and then he's like, nah, it doesn't matter. You're good. It doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, that's true.
It's okay. He's still got another one.
Yeah, exactly. He tells that. Speaking of Virginia, you know who could have used a vasectomy? Thomas Jefferson. And with that, we're going to transition into some Clemson news, Aaron, unless you have anything else to tell us about your now less powerful semen.
Well, I don't know how powerful or not powerful it is just yet. I'll know next week. We'll get it tested. We'll see where it's at. So, no, I got some horror stories from people in the chat. Be like, Aaron, just make sure you don't do anything for a few days. Like little people DMing me saying like this went wrong, that went wrong, and this went wrong. I'm like, Jesus, okay, I get the picture. My ass will be on the couch, watching Mandalorian for the next 3 days. So
yes. And if you listen to AMP today, you got a very spoiler heavy, but a very fun Mandalorian discussion. All right, let's talk about Clemson because Dabo Swinney is back in the news. What's up, Thomas? What's up, Daniel? What's up, everybody? Dabo Swinney back in the news. And Dabo's out there and he's saying, look, man, y'all are all full of it. You're sitting here, you're hating on us. I would venture to say we're better than ever. And when he was asked to expound upon this, Alex Scarborough, he says, quote, our people, the kids on the roster, the talent, our coaches, our support, our staff, our support staff, our administration, our infrastructure, our connectivity. I'm better now than I've ever been as a head coach. It's not even close where I am now to where I was in 2013 when we won our first BCS game. Never been better. So let's put that to the test, Aaron Murray. Are you buying that Clemson has never been better than where they sit here going into 2023?
No, they've definitely been significantly better as they get ready for 2023. So this is him, wishing and hoping. Brent, I don't think they're the best team in the ACC. I think Florida State's going to end up winning that conference this year. I don't trust the quarterback. Did not really prove a lot to me towards the end of the season. I just think at the end of the day, people just wanted DJU gone. I mean, plain and simple, they didn't care who you put in there. Just get rid of DJU. So they put in Klubnik. He had the good game, the comeback, but other than that, I just thought he's young, he's green, and I'm excited to see what he looks like after spring and heading into next season, year 2. So I'm, be wary of judgment just yet. He's a new offensive coordinator as well, but I'm not like, oh my God, this guy is Trevor Lawrence or this guy is Deshaun Watson or Taj Boyd. Like he's not that, and that's what's made them really good. What's made Clemson elite since 2013, since Taj, is great quarterback play, along with elite receiver play from Sammy Watkins on through. I mean, they've had that. And all of a sudden, for the past 2 years, they really haven't hit on receivers. They haven't hit on the quarterback position. And, they've always been okay, good at offensive line, not great. So it's not like they can say, okay, we don't have a quarterback. We don't have a elite receiver. We're going to run the ball 40, 50 times a game. Will Shipley was great, but like they have not been dominant up front to kind of help out with the passing game if it's not going. So, like I said, I don't know who those elite receivers are going to be this year. I don't think there's any first or second round guys on that roster that we're used to seeing. And I think Cade is like I said, super green and needs a lot more playing before you feel really, really comfortable with him leading you to a championship. So are they bad? Are they in trouble of being like a middle of the pack ACC team? No, of course not. They're more talented than 95% of the teams in that conference, but they are nowhere, T-Bob, nowhere near as good as they've been in the past decade. Not even close.
Yeah, and it's funny, we're pretty much on the exact same page here, right? Because I understand what you're saying in terms of the weapons. Like certainly Shipley's nice. I think Klubnik's going to be nice. We'll talk about Garrett Riley. Them getting Garrett Riley was a coup this offseason. But then I look at their returning receivers, and yes, their top guy was a freshman, Antonio Williams, 56 catches, 604 yards, 4 scores, pretty nice numbers. He could take a big jump, you would think, going from freshman to sophomore in an offense like this. After that, though, you got 2 seniors. And 2 seniors didn't have great years anyway. And then you got a couple sophomores who are come back, 22 catches for Bo Collins, 25 for Jake Brennan-Sewell. So again, Shipley's nice, but you don't have DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, T. Higgins, Travis Etienne. So like the weapons potentially will hold it back. I will say this, though. I understand how Dabo arrives at his belief, right? Because first off, from his perspective, he's probably got an element of like, well, come on, guys. The fuck are we talking about here? Like, okay, we made 6 playoffs in a row. 2 years ago, we didn't make it, but we won 10 games. Last year, we didn't make it, but we won the ACC. We won 11 games. Like, we're not far off. And that was an offense that wasn't that good. And what I do this offseason, I went and got the best offensive coordinator on the market in Garrett Riley. Dabo had a very interesting quote where he basically said, had Garrett Riley not been an option, he probably would have stayed with Streeter. Like, it wasn't a guarantee that Streeter was going to be out. It was just that Riley was such a gem of a get that he had to make the move, right? And so, and finally, like, how Dabo gets here is, I don't think any of us, Aaron, especially not somebody who becomes a head coach and has much success as Dabo Swinney does, and we all know about the self-belief that man has, nobody does a job for 10 years and thinks they got worse at the job. You know what I'm saying? Like Clemson could be far better, but nobody's going to think back like, oh, I was way better at radio 10 years ago. No, bullshit. Like, Dabo thinks he's a way better coach now than he's ever been before because he's a decade of experience. The problem is, to your point, I don't know if objectively the program's in the same spot. But then again, the wild card in all of this, Aaron, do you actually have to have those weapons that we're talking about to win the ACC and go to the playoffs? I mean, I know we think Florida State is still going to be very good. I have an element of, I'm still in a bit of prove it mode with Norvell and Florida State. I love seeing that program back. It reminds me of being a child and Peter Warwick and everybody. It was so tight growing up. Florida State was like the cool school, and Bobby Bowden was an absolute monster. But they've been bad for so long that I still am a bit worried that potentially it's a mirage and the 10-3 season is the exception rather than the rule. So I don't know, man. If Garrett Riley ends up being because they wanted to be like Chad Morris, right? They bring in Chad Morris back in 2011. What do? He's way ahead of the curve. They go to 6 straight playoffs. Streeter felt very behind the curve. Garrett Riley feels like he's at the forefront of offensive philosophy. So I do see a world where, even though the program, you could argue, it's not Clemson's strongest team, they still have a pretty damn clear path to the playoff through the ACC, and it's just kind of beating Florida State.
There's a couple problems. One, I love the hire of the coordinator. There's no doubt about it. Like, finally, Dabo just went out of house and brought someone in to be offensive coordinator. So I think it's a great hire. You alluded to it. Probably the top guy in the market this offseason. You bring him in, but the question is too of you still have to implement a new offense. And I always talk about quarterbacks making a big stride from year 1 to year 2, from freshman year to sophomore year. And yes, mentally and being able to be more mature will help him. But also, the problem is you're not going to be in the same system. You're having to learn a new language. You're having to learn new concepts. The coordinator and you are going to have to get on the same page. That just doesn't happen overnight. I know a lot of people think like, oh, you got spring ball, you got 15 practices, and you got fall camp. Like, they're going to come out guns blazing in week 1. It's not as easy as just flipping on a light switch. It takes repetition. It takes trust. It takes chemistry. And like I said, that just doesn't happen in one offseason. So you're asking a young quarterback who played very little last year to now learn a brand new language this offseason, a new system, and then have all the expectations of the world with, like we alluded to before, not elite talent around him, doesn't give me a confidence that year 1, all of a sudden, this is going to be a Clemson offense once again that's scoring 40 points per game. I don't see that happen. They'll still be good. I don't think they're going to be elite. So that gives me a little bit concerned as well. The second thing on the path to the playoffs, because winning the ACC, that's great, but it's been done, and it's been done for them for the majority of the past decade. Like that's kind of numb. Honestly, if you're a Clemson fan, you're numb to it. We got enough ACC trophies. We don't really care. We want playoff appearances, we want playoff wins, and we want national championships. So getting to the playoff is all that matters. Like last year, they won the ACC. It was not a successful year.
True.
Can they go 12-0? Can they go 13-0? The problem with this conference is people look down on them. You got the SEC that we know is the big boy. We know the Big Ten's a big boy. We know the Pac-12 this year. A lot of people are excited, including myself, about that conference. Very top-heavy. You probably got some of the best quarterbacks. They will get a lot of talking about throughout the season because of the quarterbacks in that league and the offenses. And the Big 12 is right there too. The ACC is so far down below where, say, Florida State is just a good team, not an elite team. Say they're a 9-3, 8-4 team this year. Say North Carolina is the same way. And say Clemson is 11-1. Because of the conference, does that get them into the playoff discussion if they don't go undefeated? That's the problem. I kind of feel like right now where the ACC is, unless Florida State is dominant, and that is a dominant win for you, I think the 4th game of the season, your schedule just doesn't really excite people to want to put you in unless a bunch of dominoes fall where the other conferences just beat each other up.
Yeah, I mean,
they got to go undefeated. They got to go undefeated. They got to go undefeated.
You feel comfortable saying that for sure?
If you have 5 conferences,
yeah,
and every one of them has a 1-loss conference champion, who stays out? If you have, say, Georgia's 1 loss,
yeah,
say
no,
I get it. Say Oklahoma, Clemson,
and you're probably
USC,
and you're gonna have potentially even a and now I don't think they'd win this argument, but there will be pushes for, like, let's say a 1-loss SEC team
Michigan,
that didn't win the championship,
Alabama.
or 1-loss Michigan or Ohio State. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
No, Aaron, you make a very salient point. I think if we were going to hypothetical, every single conference has 1-loss conference championships. Let's just work it out. Obviously, the Big Ten and the SEC are in at that point.
Yep.
I would almost guarantee that it would. Yeah, the Big 12 would have to be in there, right? Or no?
I would think the Pac-12 too.
And then I kind of feel like the Pac-12 because of the quarterback play. So okay, a fair point. But it never works out that way. Right.
No, it doesn't. I'm just saying, their margin of error is a lot. It's a lot.
No, okay. I think okay. So here's the point. I think that I've arrived at with what you're saying. If you're an SEC team, I can tell you blanket statement. If you're a 1-loss champion, you're in the playoff. If you're a Big Ten team, I can tell you blanket statement. 1-loss champion, you're in the playoff.
Yep.
If you're in the ACC, I can't tell you that. The only way I can tell you you're guaranteed to make the playoff is if you go undefeated. And so you are correct there. There's just no margin of error for this Clemson team because their conference continues to fall behind. And unfortunately, when you look at the TV deal and everything else, who knows how long the ACC continues to I
don't think they go undefeated. I don't. I think it's a somewhat tough schedule. I mean, you do have Florida State week 4. You get Duke at Duke week 1, and Duke took some major strides. You're still better. You should take care of business, but still week 1, new offense. You're at Miami. I know you're not a big Miami guy, but it's still a tough road game possibly. You got Notre Dame.
I mean,
North Carolina.
Are we sure that we're granting Miami the stadium that has about 200 people show up for games? True. I guess people are going to show up for Clemson, but are we really granting Miami a tough road test for Middle Tennessee?
It's a road game.
And then he went and beat their ass last year in Miami, dude.
And then South Carolina, to finish year off in South Carolina, kind of got that big dub last year, and Rattler's back. I'm just saying, like, to me, I don't see this team being good enough to run the table and go 12-0. And I would say more than likely, they're more than likely to go 10-2 than they are 12-0. Like I think they're a 10-2 team.
Well, in those hypotheticals, I'll always count on the team to lose, right? Just because going undefeated is so hard. So I agree with you there. Look, this is actually not a great schedule for Clemson. Now, getting Florida State at home is huge, but fourth game of the season, to your point, Riley and Klubnik better be on the same page because Norvell and Travis are going to be, and they're going to be coming, and they want that ACC crown for themselves. So we'll see. Again, I understand how Dabo puts a quote like this out there, even if we as analysts don't agree by just looking at the program. Hot Billy in the chat is claiming that Aaron is Eskimo Brothers with Eric Hosmer. And he is also claiming that I'm Eskimo Brothers with the singer Seal. I went to a Seal concert one time in Piedmont Park. It was fantastic. Yeah, dude. He used to date my sister.
Wait.
Yeah,
so you
get it? I'm implying that I had sex with my sister. It's an incest joke. Yeah, it's dark humor. It's all the rage nowadays. Wow. I mean, if you go on P-Hub, it's everywhere. How do you know why you're Eskimo Brothers? Do you know why you're Eskimo Brothers with Eric Cosby? Yeah, exactly. Look, Oz the man gets it, Roll Tide, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I know I'm Eskimo Brothers with Eric Hosmer because he married my ex-fiance.
Yeah, T-Bob, catch up, player. Jesus Christ.
we're also him and I are both Eskimo Brothers with Christian Ponder, with a couple guys in the NHL. So it's a long list.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
God
That's cool,
Casey.
Man. No, I unfortunately am not Eskimo Brothers with Seal. That'd be tight though, because I think he's very talented. And obviously Heidi Klum is beautiful. Daniel Batchin, what are you doing, Step T-Bob? I'm stuck in the dryer. Help. All right, let's get back to SEC football talk. Stepsister, how'd you get stuck in there? Actually, I'm Trevor Wallace. What's his name? His friend on YouTube. I can't remember. They have a very funny YouTube video basically playing off that joke that y'all should go watch. Let's talk about a little Mississippi State. Now, Aaron, I know we don't talk a lot of SEC baseball on here, but this will kind of tie in because there is a complete disaster going on with Mississippi baseball right now. Ole Miss is 0-6. You're defending national champs. 0-6, swept the first 2 weeks of the SEC. Mississippi State, who just won their first ever team national championship 2 years ago. It was in the sport of baseball. They had 999 previous team seasons before that without a natty in all sports. On the 1,000th, baseball gets it done. Well, now 2 years later, they're 0-6. They're losing games by football scores to schools. It is awful. So why I bring this up is the Starkville fan base right now is in a bit of panic. They just went through the pain of having their basketball team lose the play-in game by 1 point. Their baseball team, which is their pride and joy, it looks like they're going to be forced to fire a coach in Chris Lemonis that just got them a natty 2 years ago, and one that they ostensibly like. It's just the team sucks on the field. Like, he's about to get Coach O'd, I would have to imagine. And so it's like, okay, what do we have? What you have now is Zach Arnett. And you obviously have to deal with the tragedy of Mike Leach's passing from earlier this fall, and then you go with Zach Arnett, the defensive coordinator, to take over. Well, that's a lot of pressure for Arnett, right? The entire campus needs a winner, and here's the 36-year-old first-time head coach who has to be that guy. And obviously, look, he's out there saying, I'm not trying to be Mike Leach. I can't be Mike Leach. I'm not trying to duplicate Mike Leach, but I have been giving full control of this program. I have no interference from above me, and I'm going to make it as good as I can. Where's your expectation level at with Zach Arnett?
I mean, not like extremely high, but I mean, it's not like we've ever had extremely high expectations for Mississippi State. You know, is this a bowl team? Yeah. I mean, this is a 7-5 football team. And I'm just more interested to see what this team looks like identity-wise. I mean, when you got Mike Leach as the head coach, you kind of know what you're going to get. And it's been a good team. I mean, they've put together a really good roster the past couple of years. They've had very good defenses. We all know what he can do on the offensive side of the football with that air raid attack. What are they going to look like now? Where is the emphasis? How's the offense going to look? Obviously, the defense, that's not going to really change because you promote the defense coordinator to the head coach. So I'm more interested to see what the feel is. How do you manage a football game? Because now you have a defensive coach, because it is different. I mean, the way you run an offense, do you go up tempo? Do you not? Do you run the football more? Do you go for it less on fourth down situations? The entire mentality and culture is very different depending if you have an offensive coach, especially an offensive coach that is extreme as Mike Leach, to now a defensive guy. So a lot is changing right now. But when you talk about returning players, they got plenty of guys. They got a great defense back. They got, one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the SEC. Yes, he's learning a new system, but he's a bright kid. I talked to Will Rogers a couple weeks ago, actually, and he's excited, to be a part of something new, to kind of show everyone and prove the doubters wrong that, hey, I'm not just good or can put up great stats because I was an air raid offense, but I'm a pretty good quarterback. And I do think he is. I think Will Rogers can make every throw you want. I think he's good arm talent. I wouldn't say elite, but good arm talent. Great footwork in the pocket, accurate, smart decision maker, takes care of the football, all that you want from a quarterback. He'll get it done. They got a bunch of young receivers that are still back. It sucks that they lost Rara to my dogs, but overall, it's a good roster. In a SEC West that we've talked about for the past week, that is not going to be as daunting as years past. I think it's a 7-5, 8-4 football team, which for Zach Arnett in year one for Mississippi State, I would say that's a home run. It's a home run. I don't think anyone's expecting him to go 9-3.
8, if you go 8-4 regular season with an Egg Bowl win, that is a huge success of a year.
Yep.
If you go 7-5 with an Egg Bowl win, I think you get granted success as well. But this is why, again, like I told you on Snaps a couple months ago, the Egg Bowl is the number one rivalry in the country. If you go 7-5 with an Egg Bowl loss, people are not happy. So like that shows you how much rides on that game. But Aaron, you're very watch the film. You're very cognizant of a lot of offensive names and kind of what the market thinks about them. I had never really heard too much about Kevin Barbay before I started looking him up after this story. So that's the offensive coordinator that Mike Leach hired to replace, that Zach Arnett hired to replace Mike Leach. Have you heard about Barbay? Because he's got actually a pretty fascinating resume here.
Yes. It's just going to be a very different offense.
It's not pure air raid. I know, like,
from
what I've read, it's like vertical passing attack. They're going to run the ball in a more traditional style. But I guess why I bring this up is because there are some numbers that should get Mississippi State fans pretty excited about what Barbay is bringing to the table.
I mean, I had him last year at Appalachian State.
Oh, that's right.
So, I had them, I think once, not twice. Yeah, just once. So, I mean, I got to see the offense. And Appalachian State had a great offense. They had a great quarterback, too. When he was healthy, he was a little bit banged up last year. So, it's which is a little, I'm sure a lot of people will be a little bit happier about. Like, the air raid's cool, and it brings with it the excitement of being unique. And you do kind of feel like if you're at a school like Mississippi State, you kind of have to think outside the box a little bit. But Appalachian State is I would say, more in the forefront of offenses with what they want to do schematically. I think it's very much cutting edge new stuff.
So that is actually supported by these numbers. According to Matrix Analytical, which is a big analytics firm that provides numbers to people who pay subscriptions, yada, yada, right? According to Matrix Analytical, Kevin Barbay is number one among active FBS offensive coordinators in career average pass game efficiency. And I'm sorry, all of this is going to be a little dry and a little dense, right? But think about that. For his career, he's 40 years old. No one has been better on a game-to-game basis when it comes to efficiency in the passing game. In fact, he's one of only two group of 5 play callers from last season that produced an explosive pass rate above 19% while still having an offense that ranked top 35 in scoring efficiency. So what that means is he created an offense where they were able to pull off a ton of big plays, but it wasn't like big plays are bust. It was big plays within the larger, more efficient, very well-functioning offense. And since 2009, among all FBS coordinators, he's top 15% in passing touchdowns per attempt, top 20% in fewest interceptions per attempt, top 25% both QB rating and QB efficiency, and top 30 in yards per attempt. And why I bring this all up is because Will Rogers is great. Like, we know how good Will Rogers can be, right? And so now you give him even potentially an even more quarterback-friendly offense than what he had in the air raid, something newer that's even going to put the defense more on their heels and get more confused. Maybe not. Maybe not just maybe
I don't
not.
know if it says friendly as air raid, but it is quarterback-friendly.
Not from a volume standpoint. He may not put up the same volume of numbers. I feel like, though, in theory at least, like at times.
But look at Chase Bryce, the quarterback for Appalachian State.
Yes,
it has been all on him. But I mean, look at Chase Bryce past 2 years, 27 touchdowns back-to-back seasons. That's pretty darn good. Over 60% completion, 62% completion. So, once again, the proven, and Chase is one of the better quarterbacks in the Sun Belt and has been one of the better quarterbacks in the Sun Belt. So, the volume is down, which, it's as a quarterback, you want the stats. Like, let's be real. Like, all quarterbacks for 5 touchdowns. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, you want the win, but I also want the win and throw 5 touchdowns. That's the perfect game. Like, I was a little salty if we won, and Todd had 4 touchdowns and I had none. I'm like, what the hell, Bobo? Like, let me get mine a little bit. Like, nothing worse against the 2-yard line, and then we run the football. I'm like, come on, let me roll out, quick sprint out.
Let's do a fade.
Throw a fade. I was best back shoulder fade thrower in the country.
No, okay. Do you love fades as a quarterback? Did you love fades? Because sometimes I feel like fans hate fades. Like, unless every now and then you get a magical combination that's really effective at him, but there's nothing more frustrating than feeling like you've wasted a down when you throw a bad fade.
Well, if it's a bad fade, but we were really good at throwing fades, so that was kind of our bread and butter. You got AJ Green and Malcolm and Chris Conley, throw that thing up there, let them go do it.
True.
So you. As a quarterback, you want the stats a little bit. We all are somewhat selfish, which, you have to be. But there's also a sense of, like, there's nights to be able to take some pressure off and just run the damn ball. Just hand that thing off, not have to throw the ball 60 times per game. And I also think for him, too, I kind of alluded to this earlier, the the transition to the next level. He's been in college for a while, and I don't know if he wants to stay for a 6th year after this. I think he kind of is hoping that, like, hey, if I can prove that I can run an offense that is not air raid, I kind of get away from this mold and prove to NFL scouts that I can handle more of an NFL play, style offense.
Yeah,
that will bode well for me to essentially this be my last year. So I think he's excited for, like I said, the new challenge. I think he's excited to be about this offense and excited not to have to throw the ball 60 times a game in order for them to have success. So
Aaron,
yeah, I think it's good for everyone.
Did you confront him about you not wanting to break all of your records?
I did confront him. That was the first thing I said. I was like, he laughed. He's like, how far am I away? And I'm like, I think he's, what is he? I think he's around 40 touchdowns away, somewhere around there.
Dude, do you need me to? Okay, then maybe.
I don't think he'll get it done this year. I don't think he'd get it done this year because he's never thrown that many touchdowns in a season.
Do you need me to Tanya Harding him?
But I don't need him to stay for another year. So I need him to be like a 30 touchdown, 5 interceptions. I've done everything I can at Mississippi State. Won the Egg Bowl again, back-to-back years. Deuces, I'm out. That is what I need from him.
Do you think that? Oh shit! What did I just ask? I forgot now. Sorry, I got distracted. Harding. Oh yeah, bro. I'll do that shit for you. Okay, you're my boy. I love snaps. If you want me to show up in Starkville and just bash Will Rogers' knee with a crowbar or a bat, I'll do it. I probably should have admitted this in a public setting. And also, to be clear, guys, if something happens to Will Rogers, this was not actually me, okay? For the record, let the record show.
He's a good kid. Don't break the record.
He's a good kid is like the least – like you might as well have just said nothing about the person. Saying he's a good kid is the most lazy, throw it out the window. Oh, he's a
what
good
do you want
kid.
me to do? A full breakdown
I have no idea
of him?
No. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know that you actually. I'm just saying that you told me. I don't know anything that you feel about him now. I don't actually buy it when you say he's a good kid. That makes me feel like you don't want him to break your records. Which
I don't want him to break my record. I don't care if he's an asshole or a saint. I don't want him to break my record.
Yeah, fair.
It sounds a lot better saying that, I'm the SEC all-time leader in touchdowns and not just Georgia's all-time leader in touchdowns. It just has a little bit more of a ring to it.
True. Hey, so we got a hard out at 45 again today. So a couple of notes on the way out here. Hot Billy asks you when you think Stetson's going to get drafted.
Hot Billy, when is Stetson going to get drafted? I think Stetson somewhere 3 through 5. I've kind of seen some 4 through 6. I don't think he gets out of the 5th round. I mean, at the end of it all depends on what happens before him. I think Stetson is somewhere in that, 5 to 6 range, 5 to 7 range for quarterbacks taken. So if all of a sudden 3 or 4 quarterbacks are taken in the first round, then all of a sudden, bam, he moves up to the 3rd. But if it turns out to be, which I would not be surprised, a draft like last year where you're hyping all these quarterbacks up, but all of a sudden they all start dropping a little bit, then all of a sudden you could see Stetson somewhere in that 5th to 6th round. So I'm thinking more, though, the more you're seeing all this hype about, the quarterbacks and people want to take a chance on Anthony Richardson, if you see those 4 go in the first 5 picks, then Stetson probably go in the 3rd.
Well, and then Clint Moses did his research today because speaking of quarterbacks being drafted, I'm looking at Twitter. I'm like, Hendon Hooker's trending. What's going on here? And I guess Mike Tannenbaum today mock drafted him 5th overall to the Seattle Seahawks. And so make no mistake, if you are a draft analyst, now is the time, folks. This is cover your bases season. You know how the pros do it? Look at what Daniel Jeremiah from the Move the Sticks podcast said on Pat McAfee earlier today, where, God, what was I don't want to misquote it. So I'm going to look up real quick the exact quote. But basically, now is the time to just throw out some kind of non-committal, like, people aren't talking about Hooker enough. I'm telling you, if he does get drafted high, you can point back that audio and be like, look who's on the record. Okay, here's a quote from Daniel Jeremiah. I don't feel like there's been enough talk about Hendon Hooker. He's big, accurate, and can move around. So genius take on multiple levels because he said nothing. He actually said nothing. All he said is there's not been enough talk about Hendon Hooker, but now he gets to point to this and be like, look, man, I was a believer. Okay, I tried to tell y'all, big, accurate, can move around. all technically true, whether or not he ends up being a great quarterback or not. That's how it's done, Daniel Jeremiah. So if you're a young podcaster, a young draft analyst, a young scout, want to get your name out there, go ahead, throw it a Hendon Hooker tweet today, okay? The real estate is selling fast, so you're going to want to get on it now so you don't look like you're tired and kind of chasing the news cycle.
I might have to make a video right now. Let's go.
There we go. Yes,
right,
but to be fair, I actually
do
love Hendon Hooker, and I feel like we've loved Hendon Hooker throughout this process. I don't know that he'll go at 5, but I think he has a better chance of.
I think he's early second round. I think someone could. To me, Hendon is like I'm going to go someone from my draft, a little bit Teddy Bridgewater-esque. Where the Vikings traded back into the first round at like 27, 28, I believe, and picked Teddy. Like I could see someone like that saying, we need a quarterback, we need a good backup, we need someone to compete. He's an older guy, he can do everything that you alluded to. I don't want him to drop to the early second round. I'm gonna make sure I can maybe sneak into the late first, around 28 to 32. And pick him up there. So that's I could see that happen somewhere from that 28 pick to early second round for Hendon.
Keaton made me laugh here. He says, I beat Hendon Hooker my junior year in high school. He had 4 touchdowns and I only played 3 snaps, but he won't be successful because I'm better than him. Good call, Keaton. Hell yeah, dude. Nice work. Suck it, Hooker, you bum. Look, we love you. Huge thank you for y'all hanging out with us here on Snaps. It's literally the most fun thing that we do every day. We love you. Thank you to The Volume for having us. YouTube.com/The Volume. You can like the video, subscribe to the video. Title this episode Eskimo Bros. A huge thank you to Ryan Brumley, Paul Farrington, Pat Gunner, Danny Carnes, Adam Grassi. Look, if you listen where you listen on podcasts on Apple or Spotify, one way you can help by rating and reviewing the show. It helps please the robot gods and helps them kind of put it in more people's feeds. You go to FanDuel, and a huge thank you to FanDuel.
Tell us who you're Eskimo Brothers with, Put that
yes. Leave a 5-star review and tell us who your Eskimo Brothers with, and we'll pick out the best ones.
Hopefully my wife doesn't watch the show. Golly.
Don't worry. If your wife's anything like mine, she has never watched a single second of anything professional that you've ever done. My wife tells me that talk radio makes her nauseous. And she just has no patience for it whatsoever, which is great for me because I get to act like I'm a big dog and be like,
my wife,
that's my wife, dude. I could do whatever I want when really at home. I'm like, what? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. We love you. Promo code SNAPS if you sign up for FanDuel. And we'll be back more Snaps tomorrow. Keep it locked. Love y'all. See you then. Bye-bye.